The problem is that people like Lieberman are the cause for why a Holocaust is coming. Current events, people love to talk about the news, the current events. I quite frankly hate the news and hate the politics that people spend so much time doing. But since it has a whole lot to do with our weekly parasha, of course, we use whatever we can, as the Baalei Musar taught us, that a person has to use the Torah in every way possible to get people to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And sometimes you're going to have to use the things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that are uncommon, just for the sake of getting people to understand that afochba ve'afochba dekulaba, delve into it, everything is in it, meaning the Torah. Everything that you could possibly imagine is in the Torah. So what are we talking about? In the last 24 hours, one of the famous enemies of the Torah, enemies, not friends of the Torah, one of the famous enemies of the Torah that's in the Israeli government, Rasha Merusha named Avigdor Lieberman, a Russian Jew, Safek, honestly, if he's even a Jew, but nonetheless, this enemy of the Torah made some statements that made it sound as if he is repeating the words of the sages throughout all of the history. In fact, even repeating the words of the prophet. What was he saying? Avigdor Lieberman, Rasha Merusha, repeating words of the prophet? Well, not so much. He just simply started that way, where he's telling everyone or warning everyone that we are heading into the next Holocaust. That's what Avigdor Lieberman's wisdom told him to say, where we're heading to the next Holocaust, because he sees and hears what Iran, Yimach Shimam, is planning, is promising, and Iran is not the typical enemy that you have out there. Iran is an enemy that has literally been cooking their plans for years. They have the patience of an elephant, and they are waiting and waiting and waiting. But recently, Vayiftach Hashem et pi ha'aton, Hashem opened the mouth of the donkey leader that they have, and he said that that's it. The 300 missiles they shot at Israel, is just a stepping stone into what they're preparing next. And from the conversations that I've had with people in Eretz Yisrael, even though Israel did not get harmed by those 300 missiles physically, even though those missiles are drastically bigger than anything you can possibly compare them to, coming from Hezbollah or coming from the Hamasnikim, still the situation did hurt the morale of the people of Israel, where literally people are petrified of when is the next missile coming, when is the next attack coming. This is a very, very different mindset than the one we had after October 7th, where everybody was very aggressive, hurt, really sad, but very, very united and brave to go against the enemy. But now, after this whole thing happened with Iran, all of a sudden, everyone is mixed. Some are still have that strong belief, but many are literally petrified to death about the upcoming war, or the current war, I should say, with Iran. And Avigdor Lieberman, instead of warming up the crowd, instead of encouraging everyone, instead of strengthening everyone like a leader is supposed to do, what did he say? Oh, the next Holocaust is coming. Next Holocaust is coming. That's what he says. That's what the enemy of the Torah says. Now, why do I say that he could have read the words of the sages or the prophets? Because technically, that's what the prophet said, generation after generation. If you look and you read the Torah itself, you read the prophets, you read the writings, you'll see the writings literally on the wall, where the message of every single prophet to Am Yisrael, whether it was Moshe Rabbeinu or all of the other prophets that followed, is that a Holocaust is coming if we do not do TeShuva, abandon idolatry, abandon immorality, abandon the betrayal and treason against Hashem. If we don't do that, a Holocaust is coming. And Rabotai Karim, the truth is that this is something we've been talking about for over a decade, as we've been giving shurim for all of that time, whether to young crowds, old crowds, religious, non-religious, men, women, Jews, Gentiles. People have heard this from us countless times. But apparently, when it came out of the donkey Lieberman's mouth, it got the attention of the media, it got the attention of the public, and people are even more scared than they were the day before. What's the problem? The problem is that people like Lieberman are the cause for why a Holocaust is coming. You see, Rabotai Karim, when you believe that you can betray God, you can believe that you came from some amoeba or some monkey or a combination thereof, when you believe in socialism, communism, just like the Zionists called themselves, Zionist socialists in the early 1900s, when you believe that God is not important, that He's not the creator, then Rabotai Karim, in essence, what you're saying to God is bring a Holocaust. But what can we do when the foolish people that are screaming danger are jumping into the fire or igniting the fire themselves? So we have to look into the Holy Torah to see really what is the solution. While we all know that the Torah tells us, if you obey my commandments, if you fulfill my laws, then I'll give you blessings, which include protection, which include instilling fear in your enemies, into your enemies, to the point where they literally will be petrified to even say your name inappropriately. But if you don't, bad things happen. Now, there are many Jews that are not like Lieberman, that wear a kippah, just like mine, some smaller, not many bigger. There are many Jews that have peyot, just like this one, some shorter, some longer. But apparently, it's not only that it's not enough, but rather that we have problems even within the Frum community, even within the religious community, that are so problematic, they may very well bring a Holocaust even by themselves, as the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says multiple times, from the page Nun Dalet 54, 55, 56, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked into the Jewish community at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, He punished the religious community first, before punishing all the secular, all the atheists, all the idol worshippers. He punished the religious community first, because they did not fulfill their role as a religious community, as rabbis, as leaders, as Jews. So, while we could all complain about the Liebermans and the socialists and the Zionists and the anti-Torah people until we turn blue in the face, it's not really going to help us. Because if we as religious people do not fix ourselves, the blame is more on us than them.
אם בחוקותיי תלכו ואת מצוותיי תשמעו ועשיתם אותם